The tracks start as human footprints. Size 11 boots. My brother's size. Then, halfway across the dirt, they change. The boot prints stretch. The toes spread apart. The heel lifts and disappears. And what continues forward isn't human anymore. Something with claws. Something with 4 feet. Something that moved so fast the prints barely touched the ground. My name is Jesse Ironhawk. I've been a tribal police officer on Pine Ridge Reservation for 8 years. Before that, I was an Army MP in Afghanistan. I've seen what humans do to each other. I've seen what war does to men. I've seen things that should have broken me. But I never saw anything like those tracks. My twin brother Daniel disappeared 8 months ago. He walked into the Badlands at 3 a.m. We found his clothes in a pile 3 days later. Boots, jeans, shirt, folded neat like he'd taken them off on purpose. The tracks leading away started human. Then they changed. I didn't believe it at first. Told myself animals must have crossed over his footprints. Told myself the search team was seeing things. Told myself there had to be an explanation. Then, 3 hours ago, I found his jacket, hanging from a tree branch in the Badlands. 8 months after he vanished. Still warm, like someone had just taken it off. Like someone was still out there, watching me from the dark. I think my brother is still alive. I just don't think he's human anymore. And last night, I heard something howling my name, not speaking it, howling it. In Daniel's voice. If you want to understand what's hunting me, I need to tell you about the day my brother walked into the darkness and never walked back out. Daniel and I came into this world together. Twins, born 7 minutes apart on the coldest night Pine Ridge had seen in 20 years. Grandmother Rose always said we shared one spirit split between 2 bodies. Where I went, Daniel followed. Where Daniel went, I was already there. We finished each other's sentences, felt each other's pain. When Daniel broke his arm falling from a tree, I felt the snap in my own bones from half a mile away. That's what twins are. 2 halves of the same soul. Our parents died when we were 8. Ice on the road. Truck coming too fast. 1 phone call and suddenly we belonged to grandmother. She raised us traditionally. Ceremonies. Sweat lodges. Stories about the old ways and the spirits that walk alongside us. Daniel loved every minute. He learned the songs, the dances, the prayers. He felt connected to something ancient and alive. I wanted out. I couldn't wait to escape Pine Ridge. Couldn't wait to find a world that made sense. A world with rules I could understand. So I joined the army the day I turned 18. Military police. Shipped off to Afghanistan. Finally free. I came home broken. The things I saw over there. The things I did. They changed something inside me. Something I don't talk about. Something I drink to keep quiet. Daniel had changed too. But different. He'd become a traditional dancer. Started having dreams he couldn't explain. Dreams of running through the dark on 4 legs. Dreams of hunting. Dreams of being free. I thought they were just dreams. 8 months ago, Daniel woke me at 3 a.m. He was standing over my bed. His eyes were wrong. Too bright. Too hungry. Like something behind them was looking out. I have to go somewhere, he said. I tried to stop him, grabbed his arm, begged him to wait until morning. He looked at me, and for a second, I didn't recognize my own brother. I've been waiting my whole life, he said. I can't wait anymore. He walked out, headed toward the Badlands. I followed in my truck but lost him in the dark. 3 days later, we found his clothes, folded neatly, boots, jeans, shirt, like he'd taken them off on purpose. The tracks leading away started as human footprints. Then they changed. I didn't believe it at first. Told myself animals crossed over his trail. I told myself the search team was tired. Then I talked to Chief Looks twice, and he showed me a box I never knew existed, full of files about people just like Daniel. People who walked into the Badlands as humans and came out as something else. Pine Ridge Police Station sits on the edge of town like an afterthought. Small brick building, cracked parking lot, a flagpole with a flag so faded you can barely see the colors. We serve one of the poorest places in America. Unemployment over 80%. Life expectancy is lower than most third world countries. Not enough officers. Not enough money. Not enough hope. I came home from Afghanistan because I had nowhere else to go. The res needed cops. I needed something to keep me from drowning in my own head. Chief Bernard Looks twice met me at the front door my first day. Big man. Solid. Face like carved stone. He walked with a limp I didn't ask about. Not yet. He looked at me the way you look at something you're measuring for a grave. Jesse Iron Hawk, he said. Daniel's brother. Twin brother. He nodded once. Something flickered in his eyes. Pain. Recognition. Something else I couldn't name. Follow me. The tour was quick. Dispatch up front. 2 holding cells in back. The evidence room is smaller than my kitchen. Standard stuff for a station running on nothing. Then he took me to his office and closed the door. He pulled out a metal box from under his desk. Locked. He opened it with a key he wore around his neck. Inside were files. Old ones. Papers yellowed with age. The oldest dated 1952. The shifting tracks protocol, he said. He handed me a typed page. Old typewriter font. Rules numbered 1 through 7. What is this? Read it. I read. Tracks that change from human to animal. Names being howled. Shadows that move wrong. Sounded insane. Is this a joke? Looks twice didn't smile. 17 people have walked into the Badlands and left non-human tracks behind. Since 1952, that we know of. He pulled out photos. Men, women, different ages, different decades. Only 3 ever came back. What happened to them? They weren't the same. He closed the box. Your brother is 18. I didn't know what to say. Didn't know what to believe. My new partner was waiting outside. Maria Red Cloud. Early 30s. Sharp eyes that noticed everything. She handed me a laminated card without a word. The 7 rules. Same ones from the box. Smaller. Portable. Memorize these before your first night shift, she said. You believe this stuff? She looked at me for a long moment. My cousin Marcus ignored Rule 6 10 years ago. Tried to stop his girlfriend from walking toward the Badlands. She paused. We found pieces of him the next morning. Never found her. I stared at the card in my hand. Read the files, Maria said. Then decide if you believe. I read them that night. I didn't sleep after. But that was nothing compared to what happened when I asked the chief about his limp. About what happened in 1994. About the daughter he lost to the Badlands. First night patrol with Maria. We pulled out of the station at 10 p.m. The Badlands stretched dark against the darker sky. Miles of nothing but rock and shadow. She drove. I held the laminated card, reading those 7 rules over and over. You want to understand them, Maria said. I'll tell you the stories behind them. She started with Rule 1, tracks that change. Don't follow them. Following means accepting an invitation, she said. You're saying yes to something that wants company. Once you accept it, it knows you, can find you anywhere. Rule 2. No foot patrols between 3 a.m. and 4:30 a.m. That's when they hunt. Vehicles only. Windows up. Don't stop for anyone. Hunt what? Maria didn't answer that question. Instead, she told me about the chief's daughter. 1994. Sarah looks twice. She was out walking during the hunting hours. The chief heard something calling from his radio, her voice asking for help. He drove out there, found something that looked like her standing in the road. What happened? He chased it for 2 miles, thought he was saving his daughter. Then it turned around. Maria's hands tightened on the wheel. It wasn't Sarah anymore. The face was wrong, stretched, too many teeth, smiled at him. Then it ran into the Badlands on 4 legs. He tried to follow. Something caught his ankle, tore through the muscle. That's why he limps. And his daughter? Never found her. The car was quiet for a long moment. Just the sound of tires on broken pavement. Rule 6. If someone walks toward the Badlands without explanation, don't physically stop them. My cousin Marcus, Maria said. Her voice went flat. His girlfriend Emma started sleepwalking. Every night, walking toward the Badlands. He thought he could save her. One night he grabbed her, held on tight, wouldn't let go. She paused. We found pieces of Marcus the next morning. Something tore him apart. Emma was gone, tracks leading away. Human at first, then something else. I felt sick. These weren't just rules. They were gravestones, each one marking someone who didn't listen. What about Rule 4? I asked. People who come back different? Maria told me about Joseph Whitebird, elder from the reservation. Went missing for 5 days. Came back walking on his own feet. Seemed fine, almost normal, but his shadow moved wrong. It would shift when he was standing still, Maria said. Move in directions he wasn't moving, like something else was wearing him. We watched him for 2 weeks. Then one morning he walked back into the Badlands. Didn't say a word. Didn't take anything. Just walked. Did he come back again? No. But sometimes at night people hear his voice out there, calling names. I stared at the Badlands through the window. Dark shapes against dark sky, holding secrets I didn't want to know. Maria asked about Daniel, about the dreams he'd been having. I told her, the running, the hunting, the 4 legs. She nodded slowly. They all have dreams first. That's how it is called. How it wakes up what's inside. What do you mean, what's inside? Maria looked at me, then at the Badlands. Your grandmother would explain it better. But not everyone is only one thing. Some people are 2. And sometimes the second thing gets hungry. 3 weeks into my return, I was starting to feel almost normal. Learning the roads, learning the faces, trying to forget about the files in that locked box. Then the call came. 11 p.m. Dispatch said a rancher named Tom Spotted Horse was reporting strange tracks around his cattle pens. Something had killed a calf. Maria and I responded. Tom's ranch sat 15 miles east of town, closer to the Badlands than most people wanted to live. When we pulled up, he was waiting on his porch with a shotgun across his knees. "Took you long enough," he said, not angry, scared. He led us to the cattle pen. The calf was lying in the center, throat torn out, blood everywhere. But here's the strange part. Nothing had eaten it. "Predators eat what they kill," Maria said quietly. This wasn't about food. Then what was it about? She didn't answer. She was looking at the ground. The tracks. I followed her eyes and felt my stomach drop. Barefoot human prints approached the pen from the east. Clear as anything. Size 10. Adult male. Walking normally. Then, about 6 feet from the fence, they changed. The toes stretched. The arch lengthened. The prints became something else. Something with claws. Something that walked on 4 feet instead of 2. "Get your camera," Maria said. Her voice was flat, professional, hiding something underneath. I photographed the tracks while she talked to Tom. My hands were steady. My mind was screaming. "When did this happen?" Maria asked. "Last night, around 3 a.m. I heard the calf crying. By the time I got out here, it was dead." "Did you see anything?" Tom hesitated. His fingers tightened on the shotgun. "I heard something, howling, but not like any coyote I ever heard. Not like a wolf either." "What did it sound like?" "Like words." Tom's voice dropped, almost like it was calling a name. My camera hand stopped moving. "What name?" Tom looked at me. Then I looked away. Uncomfortable, afraid. Sounded like Jesse. The silence stretched. Maria stopped writing in her notepad. I could feel her eyes on me. "Are you sure about that?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady, failing. "I know what I heard." Tom stood up straighter. It yelled that name 3 times. Then it went quiet. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. We finished documenting the scene. I took more photos, collected what evidence we could. The whole time, Tom's words echoed in my head. Sounded like Jesse. My name, howled instead of spoken. In the car, Maria didn't start the engine right away. We sat in darkness, looking at the Badlands in the distance. "It knows you're here," she said finally. "It knows you came back. What do you know?" "Daniel." She paused. "Or what Daniel became." I wanted to argue, wanted to tell her it was a coincidence. Some animal that made sounds like words. Rancher who hadn't slept, hearing things that weren't there. But I couldn't, because deep down in the part of me I tried to keep quiet, I knew she was right. Something was calling my name, and part of me wanted to answer. That night I couldn't sleep, kept hearing Tom's voice. Sounded like Jesse. Rule 3. Don't answer if you hear your name howled. But I hadn't heard it myself. Not yet. Part of me almost wished I had. Because if it was calling me, maybe Daniel was doing the calling. Maybe some piece of my brother was still out there, trying to reach me. Maybe I could reach back. I was about to find out how wrong that thinking was. 3 nights later.
3:15 a.m.
The hunting hour. How did Maria know? I pulled my hand back from the door. stepped away from the window, pressed my back against the far wall and kept my eyes on the floor. Don't look. Don't answer. Don't go outside. It howled one more time, frustrated this time, almost angry. The sound tore through the night like something breaking. Then silence. I waited, counting heartbeats, counting seconds. Finally, I looked. The thing was moving, heading toward the Badlands. But the way it moved wasn't walking, not running either. It was loping, four-legged motion in a two-legged frame, like something that had forgotten how humans were supposed to move, or like something that didn't care anymore. It disappeared into the darkness. I watched until I couldn't see it anymore. Then I sank to the floor and didn't move until dawn. I called Maria as soon as the sun came up, told her what I'd seen, what I'd heard. She was quiet for a long time. It's using Daniel's voice, she said finally. That means Daniel is still part of it somehow. Still in there. In where? The pack. The ones who answered the call. They hunt together now. My chest tightened. Hunt what? You. Maria's voice was steady. They're hunting you, Jesse. Why me? Because you're his twin. You carry the same spirit Daniel did. The same potential. She paused. I heard her take a breath. It wants to wake up what's inside you too. I needed answers. Real answers. Not rules on a laminated card. Not stories passed between officers in quiet voices. I needed to understand what happened to my brother. I started with Daniel's room. Grandmother Rose had kept it exactly as he left it. Bed made, clothes folded, like she was waiting for him to come back. His journal was in the nightstand drawer, leather-bound, pages filled with his handwriting. I sat on his bed and started reading. The first entries were normal, daily stuff, work, weather, plans for the weekend. But about 6 months before he disappeared, the entries changed. Drawings appeared in the margins, four-legged shapes, running through darkness, moonlit landscapes that looked like the Badlands but wrong somehow, stretched, like a dream version of reality. Then the words started changing too. Had the dream again, running, faster than I've ever run. The wind in my face, the ground under my feet. For feet, not two, felt like flying, felt like freedom. I turned more pages. The entries got stranger. Something is growing inside me. I can feel it when I wake up, when I look in the mirror. Something behind my eyes, waiting, hungry. I tried to tell Jesse, but how do you explain something like this? He'd think I'm crazy. Maybe I am. Or maybe I'm finally becoming what I was always meant to be. The final entry was dated the day Daniel disappeared. It's not a curse. I finally understand. It's a gift. I just have to stop fighting. I just have to let go. The words blurred. I realized I was crying. I closed the journal and went to find Grandmother Rose. She was sitting on her porch, facing the Badlands, like she'd been waiting for me. You read his journal, she said. Not a question. Yes. Sit down, Jesse. It's time you knew the truth. He sat beside her. The afternoon sun was warm, but I felt cold. Deep down cold. Our bloodline carries something, she said. The old people called it two spirits. Not like they use the word today. Different meanings. Older. She paused, gathering words. Human and animal. Sharing one body. Most people, the human stays in control forever. The animal sleeps. Stay quiet. Never wake up. But sometimes it does wake me up. Yes. She looked at me. Her eyes were ancient, full of things I didn't want to know. Especially twins. Two bodies. One spirit split between them. The animal is stronger, has more room to grow. Daniel's woke up. It was always stronger in him. I watched it growing since he was a child. The way he moved, the way he looked at the moon, the way animals trusted him. She shook her head. I tried to teach him balance, but something in the Badlands called to him, promised him release, freedom, no more fighting. He answered, yes. I felt tears on my face. Is he dead? Grandmother Rose took my hands. Her fingers were cold. The Daniel you knew is gone. But something that remembers being Daniel is still out there, running with the others, hunting with the pack. She squeezed my hands, and it wants you to join it.
Isterte her.
The weight of her words pressing down. You have the same spirit in you, she said. I see it behind your eyes. The war woke it up. The things you saw, the things you did, they fed it. Something cold moved through my chest. Recognition, fear. But you're stronger than Daniel, she continued. You've been fighting it longer. You just didn't know what you were fighting. She looked toward the Badlands. Dark shapes on the horizon. Go find your brother. Not to bring him back. That's not possible. But to say goodbye. To close the door between you before it pulls you through. I asked her what would happen if I didn't. She didn't answer. She didn't have to. I decided to find where Daniel disappeared. See it for myself. Understand what I was dealing with. Daylight only. Following protocol. Maria insisted on coming. We drove to the canyon where the search team had found Daniel's clothes 8 months ago. Took almost 2 hours on dirt roads that got worse the closer we got to the Badlands. The moment we stepped out of the truck, I felt it. Wrongness. The canyon was too quiet. No birds. No insects. No wind. Just silence so thick it felt like pressure against my ears. The air was colder than it should be. 15 degrees colder than the highway. Maybe more. Something's not right here, Maria said. Her hand moved to her weapon. We walked in, following the old tracks. The ones that started human and ended as something else. The canyon walls rose around us. Red rock streaked with black. Shadows that didn't match the angle of the sun. Then we found new tracks. Fresh. Made within the last few days. Human footprints becoming animal prints. Not just one set. Multiple. There's more than one, I said. The pack. Maria's voice was barely a whisper. They all come here. This is their territory. We followed the tracks deeper. Against my better judgment. Against every rule I'd memorized. Then I saw it. A tree. Dead. Twisted. Standing alone in the middle of the canyon. Daniel's jacket was hanging from a branch. I walked toward it. Touched it. Still warm. Like someone had just taken it off. Jesse. Maria's voice was urgent. We need to leave. Now. Before I could answer, the howling started. Not from one direction. From everywhere. Echoing off the canyon walls. Surrounding us. The pack. I saw shapes moving on the ridgeline above. Humanoid. But moving wrong. Loping on 2 legs. Sometimes dropping to 4. flowing like shadows. There were at least a dozen of them, maybe more, and leading them closer than the others was a figure I recognized. Same height as Daniel, same posture, same way of holding his shoulders. But the face was wrong, stretched, jaws are too long, cheekbones are too sharp, and the eyes, they caught the light and reflected it back. Yellow-green, like an animal. He howled. My name, Jesse. Daniel's voice, stretched into something inhuman, but still his, still my brother's voice calling for me. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. I just stood there, staring at what my twin had become. Maria grabbed my arm, pulled me toward the truck. Run, now, move. We ran. The pack followed. I could hear them behind us. Rocks shifting, claws scraping, heavy breathing that sounded too close. But they didn't attack. They were watching, waiting, letting us go. We reached the truck. Maria started the engine, slammed the gas. I looked back through the rear window. Daniel was standing in the middle of the road, staring at me. For 1 second, I saw something human in those yellow eyes. Something that remembered being my brother. Something sad. Then he dropped to all fours and ran into the rocks. Faster than anything human could move. Faster than anything should move. Gone. Maria didn't say anything on the drive back. Neither did I. We'd seen it. Both of us. Daniel. What Daniel had become. He'd let us go. Why? Why call me every night, but then let me leave? Maria finally spoke when we reached the station. He's waiting for you to choose. That's how it works. They can't force you to change. You have to want it. She paused. He's trying to show you what you could become. What you could have if you just let go. I thought about Daniel's journal. It's not a curse. It's a gift. I thought about grandmother's words. The war woke it up. I thought about the thing inside me that I'd been drinking to silence. The thing that felt more restless every night. The thing that recognized what I'd seen in that canyon. I was running out of time. The animal was waking up, and part of me wanted to let it. I went back to Grandmother Rose, told her what I'd seen in the canyon, what I'd felt. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she nodded slowly. You're ready now. Ready for what? To face what's inside you. To choose which spirit leads. She didn't perform the ceremonies I remembered from childhood. No drums. No songs. Something older. Something harder. 3 days. No food. No water except what she gave me. Sweat lodge until my body felt like it was melting. Then cold water until I couldn't stop shaking. And between it all, she made me look. At myself. At the parts one kept hidden. Tell me about the war, she said. I didn't want to, but she waited. Patient. Ancient. So I told her. About the night patrols. The hunting. The way my heart raced when we tracked insurgents through dark streets. The way something inside me came alive in those moments. The part that liked it. That's the animal, Grandmother said. It woke up over there. Fed on the hunting. The violence. Survival. I felt sick. Ashamed. Don't hide from it, she said. Hiding gives it power. You have to see it. Acknowledge it. Then choose to stay human anyway. More sweating. More cold. More looking at things I'd buried. The anger I carried. The loneliness. The part of me that felt more alive at night than in daylight. The part that heard Daniel's howl and wanted to answer. Grandmother taught me words. Old Lakota words. Words that reinforced the boundary between human and animal. Words that honored both spirits but kept them in balance. I said them until my throat was raw, until they lived in my bones. On the final night, she gave me something. A leather cord. Simple. Worn smooth by age. Tied to it were 2 teeth. One from a wolf. One from a human. From my mother, grandmother said. She was two-spirit too. Carried the animal her whole life. It never took over. She died at 93. Still human. Still herself. I held the cord. Felt its weight. It's possible, grandmother continued, to carry both and stay whole. But you have to close the door Daniel opened. You have to say goodbye. Completely. No more hoping. No more missing. Why? Because grief is what the pack uses. The missing door. As long as you hold on to him, it can reach you, call you, pull you through. She wrapped my fingers around the cord. Say goodbye to your brother. Let him go. That's the only way to stay human. The night before I went back, Maria came to my house. She didn't say much, just sat with me. We watched the Badlands in the distance. Dark shapes against dark sky. Are you going to say goodbye or join him? She asked. I told her I didn't know yet. That was the truth. Part of me still wanted what Daniel had found. Freedom. Release. No more fighting. Maria nodded. Just remember, he let go of everything human, including you. Whatever you find out there, it's not your brother anymore. It's something wearing his memories. She left. I sat alone until 3 a.m. Then I heard the howling again. My name. Daniel's voice. Calling me home. This time I answered. Not out loud. But I got in my truck and drove toward the sound. I drove into the Badlands alone, breaking every rule, every protocol, everything Maria and Chief had warned me about. The howling guided me. Daniel's voice, calling me deeper. The further I drove, the more the world changed. The stars looked wrong. Constellations I'd known my whole life were scattered, rearranged, like someone had shaken the sky. Distances stopped making sense. A rock formation would appear a mile away. I drive toward it. 5 minutes later, it was still a mile away, or suddenly right next to me. I was in their territory now, their rules, their reality. I found them at the base of a canyon wall. The pack. A dozen figures gathered around a fire. But the fire was wrong too. It burned bright but made no smoke. Cast light but no shadows. Some of them looked almost human. Standing upright. Faces you might pass on the street. Others had changed more. Bodies twisted between forms. Spines curved wrong. Limbs too long. Jaws stretched into something that could never speak human words again. And sitting apart from the others, watching me approach, was Daniel. He looked more human than the rest. Almost normal. Almost my brother. Like he'd been waiting. Like he knew I would come. I stopped the truck. Got out. I walked toward the fire. The pack watched me. Hungry eyes. Patient eyes. They didn't move. Daniel stood. Walked toward me. Jesse. His voice was almost normal. Almost. But underneath it, something growled. Something rumbled. You came. You've been calling me. I've been waiting. He smiled, the smile I remembered, but the teeth were wrong. Too many, too sharp. I saved a place for you. I didn't say anything. Couldn't. The pack stirred. Growls rippled through them. That's why you keep calling, I said. That's why you need me to join. Because you're lonely. Because you gave up everything human and now you have nothing but hunger. Daniel snarled. The sound tore from his throat. Not human anymore. You're wrong. His voice was mostly growling now. We have each other. We have the hunt. We have forever. Forever alone. Forever empty. I shook my head. That's not freedom. That's a prison. Daniel dropped to all fours. The pack rose behind him. Dozens of shapes. Twisted. Hungry. Ready. I reached into my shirt. Pulled out the leather cord grandmother gave me. Hold it up. Started speaking the words she taught me. Old words. Lakota words. Words that reinforce the boundary. Words that honor both spirits but keep them separate. Then I spoke his name. Not Daniel. His true name. His Lakota name. The one grandmother gave him at birth. The one that held who he really was. Dakota. Running with the wolves. Daniel froze. I remember who you were, I said. My brother. My twin. My other half. The pack growled, shifting closer. And I'm letting you go. Something flickered in Daniel's eyes. Something human. The brother I grew up with. The boy who shared my soul. For 1 second he was there. Run. His voice. His real voice. Broken. Desperate. Run now. Then the animal took over completely. Daniel lunged. I ran, sprinting toward my truck. The pack behind me. Claws on rock. Heavy breathing. Snarls echoing off canyon walls. I didn't look back. Couldn't look back. Just ran. Reached the truck. Yanked the door open. Jumped inside. Started the engine. They slammed against the sides. Claws scraping metal. Faces pressed against windows. Yellow eyes. Too many teeth. But dawn was breaking. The first light hit the canyon rim. Spread down the walls. They fell back. One by one. Retreating from the light. Snarling. Frustrated. I slammed the gas. Drove toward the sunrise. In the rearview mirror I saw Daniel. Standing at the edge of the light. Fully transformed now. No human left in his eyes. Fur-covering skin. Jaw extended. Teeth bared. But he didn't follow. He couldn't. The goodbye had severed something. The door between us. The connection that let him call me. I'd let him go. And he couldn't reach me anymore. I drove away. Didn't look back again. Made it to the highway as the sun came up. Pulled over. I sat there shaking for an hour. I'd seen my brother become something else. I'd said goodbye. I'd felt the door between us close forever. The thing inside me was still there. The animal. The hunger. The spirit that woke up in Afghanistan. But it was quieter now. Balanced. Grandmother was right. It doesn't go away. You just learn to live with both parts. To be two things at once. And to choose every day which one leads. I went back to work the next day. Maria was waiting at the station. She looked at my face and didn't ask what happened. She didn't need to. She could see it. Chief Looks twice called me into his office. The howling stopped last night, he said. First time in months. I nodded. Didn't explain. He studied me for a long moment. Then he slid the protocol across his desk. Add what you learned. Picked up a pen. Wrote in my own handwriting at the bottom. An 8th rule. If someone you love has changed, you cannot save them. But you can say goodbye. And you can choose not to follow. The chief read it, nodded once, put the protocol back in its box. That afternoon, I visited Daniel's grave. The empty one. The headstone we put up when he was declared dead. Nothing underneath but dirt and memories. I took out the leather cord, the wolf tooth and human tooth tied together, laid it on the headstone. Goodbye, Dakota. I said it out loud this time. Let the words carry on the wind. I love you, and I'm letting you go. The wind picked up, rustled the grass. For one moment, I thought I heard a howl, but it wasn't my name. Just the wind, just the Badlands keeping their secrets. I drove back to the station as the sun set. That night, I was on patrol with Maria when a call came through. Rancher on the east side. Tracks found near his home. Human footprints becoming animals. I looked at Maria. Different pack, I said. Same protocol. She nodded. Started driving toward the call. The work continues. Some people carry 2 spirits. Most never know. Some can't keep the balance. My job is to help them try. And when they can't, to help their families say goodbye.